If you've ever been called boring, too quiet, too serious, this might explain why you're actually the intelligent one. Have you ever noticed how your life feels quieter than everyone else's? You don't crave chaos, you don't chase drama, you don't need constant movement, and sometimes you wonder, why does a boring life feel safer to me? Why does your nervous system tighten when things get loud, fast, unpredictable, and why, deep down, you don't really want more excitement, you just want peace? What if the life you call boring isn't small? What if it's intelligent? You've probably been told you're too intense, too reserved, too sensitive, but listen carefully, that isn't weakness, it's adaptation. Some people learn to relax early in life, others learn to observe, and observers don't chase noise, they study it, they scan it, they understand it. You don't enjoy small talk, you don't thrive in chaos, crowded rooms don't energize you, and sometimes you quietly wonder what's wrong with you, because everyone else seems to want more noise, more friends, more stimulation, more excitement, and you want less drama, less confusion, less emotional guessing games. You don't want to chase excitement, you want stability, you want calm, you want to wake up without bracing yourself for the day. Maybe your life looks simple from the outside. You go to work, you come home, you follow your routines, you don't overshare, you don't perform your life online, you don't need constant visibility, and sometimes you feel invisible, not because you're doing nothing, but because your life doesn't scream, it doesn't perform, it doesn't demand attention. Once stepped away from society and chose to live quietly by a pond. People called it strange, minimal, even boring. But he wasn't escaping life. He was choosing clarity. And maybe, without realizing it, so are you. When someone grows up without their emotions being deeply noticed, they learn something subtle. They learn to read the room, to notice tone shifts, to sense energy changes before words are spoken. Your nervous system becomes careful, not dramatic. Careful, like a smoke detector that goes off before the fire spreads. You don't always know why you feel tense. You just do. You don't always know why you replay conversations. You just replay them. Because your brain learned early that missing emotional cues had consequences. So now, you don't miss much, and a system that had to stay alert doesn't crave chaos. It craves predictability, routine, calm environments, simple days. What others call boring, your body calls safe. Imagine sitting in a loud restaurant, music playing, 10 conversations overlapping, laughter bouncing off the walls. You smile, you participate, but halfway through, your chest tightens. Not because you hate people, but because your system is overloaded. Later, you choose a quiet night at home, soft lighting, a book, silence, and someone says, "You're so boring." But what they don't see is the emotional math happening inside you, the constant scanning, the filtering, the adjusting. That quiet night. It isn't emptiness, it's recalibration. Imagine someone who keeps their life private, who doesn't broadcast every victory or every wound. They aren't hiding, they just don't equate visibility with worth. Depth doesn't need applause. Imagine choosing one steady friendship over a crowd, consistency over thrill, routine over risk. It looks small, but internally, it feels grounded. Because when you've spent years managing emotional undercurrents, peace becomes luxury. So let me ask you something. When you imagine a successful life, does it actually look loud, or does it look steady? When you picture peace, do you see crowds or stillness? Have you ever called yourself boring when what you really meant was tired? Tired of unpredictability, tired of emotional guessing games. What if your love for simplicity isn't fear? What if it's wisdom? Maybe your life looks ordinary. Maybe it doesn't impress anyone. Maybe it doesn't move fast. But maybe it lets you breathe. And for someone whose nervous system has spent years on alert, breathing is everything. You don't need chaos to feel alive. You don't need drama to feel depth. You don't need constant stimulation to prove you matter. A quiet morning, a stable routine, one honest connection, a peaceful home. That isn't boring. That's intelligence choosing calm. Thoreau wrote about living deliberately, not loudly, deliberately, and maybe without even realizing it. That's what you've been doing. Choosing what doesn't overwhelm you. Choosing what doesn't confuse you. Choosing what doesn't exhaust you. That isn't weakness. That's awareness. So if your life feels slow, quiet, simple, maybe that's not something to fix. Maybe it's something your nervous system fought hard to earn. And maybe, for the first time, it's finally safe enough to be called